Wes, hi, mein friend, and welcome to yet another video. My dear friends, now this topic might be very familiar to some of you, and on the other hand, it might be very unfamiliar to the rest of you. I'm talking about collectibles right now. You know, if you've been following my channel for quite some time, that I am a voracious collector and a fan of, all kinds of merchandise and memorabilia connected with my favorite, as people like to call it, franchises or IPs. But all in all and in general, fantasy. It has always been my thing and my favorite genre. And we all know that there are toys and collectibles and action figurines that represent our favorite stories. But as with everything today, it has come to happen that some of the, or most of the mainstream lines of action figurines and collectibles have experienced a little bit of a downfall as far as the quality goes, or the practices that those companies who are making them are doing. So, for example, out of all, now we shall only focus on the so-called 1/12 scale action figurines, which is your usual, regular, let us say, Marvel Legends or Star Wars The Black Series or McFarlane DC Multiverse, so on and so forth, or even NECA action figurines. It has become a fact that the quality of those action figures have gone down, especially then as far as Hasbro or McFarlane goes. And unfortunately also they have started doing this very strange thing, and that is, do you know how you always have a package that your action figure comes in, and that package usually has like a plastic see-through window on the front so you can see the action figure? Well, they have got rid of this plastic window for a long time, and they have either covered the action figure altogether, or there's just a hole, and so everybody can touch it in the shop or anywhere really, or it's just, dust gets in there. When I have heard that they are going to remedy it and use a cheaper plastic instead of nothing really, because of course 99% of all the fans and collectors are dissatisfied with it, and the prices go up and up and up, and the quality goes down and down and down. And so, do we really want to support companies that are providing us with a product of a very poor quality? And also, the stories that those action figures are representing, well, we all know what is happening to those stories. Just look at what happened with Star Wars. Look at what happened to the American superheroes. They are a matter of the distant past at this point. The good American heroic superheroes that one could be proud of collecting. Well, I've got an alternative for you, my dear friends. Especially for those of you who are fantasy aficionados, such as I am. We are talking about the company called Four Horsemen Studios and their line of Mythic Legions action figurines. They have got other lines, two major lines called Cosmic Legions that are only now going to come out with their first wave, and also the so-called Figura Obscura, which are kind of adapting into an action figure format different mythological and legendary characters such as Krampus or Father Christmas or the Monkey King or the Headless Horseman. But we are now only going to focus on the line called Mythic Legions, and I am now going to be showing you some pictures of those action figurines while I'm talking, with no really particular order. So they started with this particular with this particular toy line, roughly I would say about 10 years ago on Kickstarter. And during those 10 years, they have developed their skills, they have improved, they have made such a progress that today in 2023, as of making of this video, the Mythic Legions by Four Horsemen Toy Design or Studios is the best line of action figures out there on the market that you can get. Now, the Mythic Legions are, as far as the size goes, the scale, they are 1/12 scale action figures, which means that the regular human or elf or vampire or whatever like action figure is about 17 centimeters tall. I'm from Europe. We use the metric system, so deal with it. Well, basically 7 inches, right? And they are divided into different factions and fractions, such as the Xylonas folk, or Ilithia's brute, or Erethia's group, or whatever you have. And of course, we've got all different kinds of races of the fantasy genre. Now, I describe the Mythic Legions simply as the best fantasy figures out there, because if you look at them, you get the feeling of a high fantasy that includes humans and elves and dwarves and wizards, enchanters and vampires and trolls and orcs and even centaurs and minotaurs. And man, let me tell you, not only are they of an extreme quality, fantastic quality, but also they are very, very much customizable. By that, I want to say that all those parts, all the legs, all the limbs, all the heads, they can be popped up or popped out of the torso, and you can just switch them and swap them. Also, you can paint them yourselves if you so wish. Now, they also come up with the lines of the so-called Legion Builders, or, like deluxe Legion Builders. And those Legion Builders are usually slightly less painted than those other, like, major characters. And these are then primarily made for customizers that, you can just finish them for yourselves or paint them the way you like. So these action figurines, they are not adapting anything that came before. They are not adapting any book. They are not adapting any film. They are not adapting any video game, nothing. Although they have been, a lot of them, inspired by various fantasy stories and legends and myths, so on and so forth. Because, quite honestly, these things are the best to be inspired by. However, it needs to be said that the company is right now, as of making of this video, working on a book. A lore book, also a narrative picture, illustrated book that will cover the basics and the beginnings of their own world, called Mythos. So yes, they have got their own world, they have got their own realm, they have got their own background and stories, but all those stories and all those characters are being thought of, are being born in the minds of the people at Four Horsemen Studios. Now, what is beautiful about it as well is that, yes, the Four Horsemen Studios are becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and more successful, but they are still a small, more or less independent company. In comparison with, let's say, Hasbro or McFarlane, of course, or Sideshow Collectibles or Hot Toys. And so they are very, very approachable, and they have got their own YouTube channel, and they have got their own Instagram account, and they are very, very much present on Facebook. So they are interacting with fans directly each and every single day. And that is something I appreciate extremely. So if you want to, have, firstly, if you want to have beautiful action figures, go and Google them, Four Horsemen Studios. You will find their figures. You will find them. Get them wherever you can, whatever you can. And also, if you want to support people who are fans of collecting, because not only are they good right now, but they also worked on many extremely famous action figurine waves or series in the past. They've worked on the Masters of the Universe, these expensive ones that don't come out anymore by Mattel. And they've also worked with Todd McFarlane and with many other companies. But thank all the gods in the universe, they established their own company and they are making, the best there is right now. They have beaten all of them. They have beaten Mattel, they have beaten McFarlane, they have beaten Hasbro, they have beaten, in my eyes, hey, I've got about 15 Hot Toys and Sideshow Collectibles 12-inch figures. I've got about, close to 10 premium format figures by Sideshow Collectibles. And still, And still, those small, little, tiny, teensy, tiny fantasy mythic legions are my favorite action figures. So it means something, and especially then, it means something when it comes from the mouth of European law, your trusty aficionado of fantasy, your trusty man who is, in many cases, sometimes even uncomfortably honest. All right then. So let me know in the comments down below what you think, if you know Mythic Legions or if you only hear about them now. And if you're going to get some of them in the future, either for you or for somebody you know who is a collector. And thank you very much for watching. That'll be all, and namaste.